Welcome to All Mixed Up. Chad Reynolds, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man. I'm doing pretty good.
You've been a busy boy, it looks like.
Yeah, a little bit. Staying busy, staying cold. My feet are still freezing.
Yeah, man, this cold front came in is crazy. It dropped the temperatures down into upper teens at night down here in the desert.
Oh wow, it's in the teen. Yeah, all right. So, well, I'm used to that. It's 8 right now here, but man, for it to get down into the teens down there, that's something.
Yeah, and I mean it's that temperature swing that's so crazy because during the day it's getting up to like 60. So you're going from 19 to 60 every day. But I like it. I mean, you start the day bundled up and end the day in a t-shirt. That's nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, man, I've this episode this month, it's going to be a pretty exciting one. I'm just recapping a great trip that I took for Houndsman XP, and you've been traveling too, so stay tuned, everybody. We're going to be talking about that too. But I think a lot of the patrons know I've been on the road quite a bit, and I was in East Texas. That was man, that was crazy. That was so fun. I got to experience a lot of new stuff, and it was just unbelievable. So we'll get there. I just wanted to just ask how you've been, and if there's anything you need to let the world know about your awesome travels, and maybe drop us a teaser on what you've been up to.
Oh, well, I mean, see, we did the NAFA thing, and finally, like the last time I got on and said a few words.
What's NAFA?
NAFA. Oh yeah, NAFA is the North American Falconers Association. So every year they have like a big meet where they get together, and it jumps around somewhere in the United States every year. So that just happened, and I went to that and talked to a bunch of folks, and then so we'll have that for later. And then last time we spoke, we talked about something you can't just get off your mind, and for me it was getting that falcon and the sighthounds going, and boom, got it. It's a thing. And we'll talk about that. I can't wait. But now
it's better than ever.
What I've been up with, man, a bunch of feather stuff, man, and all the dogs that go along with them, I guess. Nice.
Well, tell us about your new sighthound, dude.
Oh, my little black and tan dog, my little Saluki. Yeah, she's pretty neat. I'm pumped about her. The wife and I love to go running dogs. And we've had a number of sighthounds, but nothing that could quite, we've had dogs that could keep up with the horses, but not maintain with the horses, and then, start the party 10, however many times over the course of a few hour ride, so we've dreamed of having Salukis to do this with for forever. And it's kind of like winning the lottery, just getting an opportunity to buy one of the dang things, and that's just not worked out for a number of reasons. But finally, the planets aligned, and I got one. And, a lot of people that run the sighthounds would, think of the Salukis as being socially intimidated, or, just a little bit of the softer types. Not that they're inferior dogs are weak, just, compared to like a stag hound that,
Spooks.
Like that's what they're kind of, every breed has its pros and cons. And that's one that I hear the most of whenever they talk about Salukis, is like, that's their flaw, is that they can be shy. Mm-hmm. And, I kept asking about that. And then the guy sent me a video of him shooting like a high caliber pistol, like 5, 6, 7 shots right there. And they like, one of them didn't even pick his mouth up from the kibble. The other's kind of walking around biting at a fly, and like they didn't even know the guns were going off.
Wow.
So yeah, so I'm pumped. Who knows how fast she'll be? Well, that day will come. But for now, like, there's nothing wrong in the temperament department, that's for sure. So
my two Salukis are like dang golden retrievers, dude. They are so friendly. It's just how
hear that
raised,
though, right?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I mean, Salukis, we had a guy named Paul Domsky on the show a long time ago when I first started. Oh, yeah. And he said it on the show. Yeah, the guy. And for good reason, the guy. He's a good Saluki man. He said in his show, and I couldn't agree more, that Salukis, they got to be house dogs. If you want to enjoy your relationship with your hunting Saluki, you got to let them in the house and raise them in the house as pets, or they're just, I'm just going to say it, they can be like coyotes. You know what I mean? Just like totally wild. And they can just go into that spooky not terrified, just that spooky, flighty temperament so quickly. And if they're raised like any other American pet that also does a job, I think they can just be phenomenally social animals, just like any other dog. Mine, when people get there, they're jumping up in people's laps. And yeah, mine, they were raised in the house. They live in the house with us. And I think that's critical with sight hounds in general if you want to have them really tame.
Mm-hmm.
So good. I'm glad she's a sweetheart. I was watching the videos of her playing with you. That's going to be awesome. And yeah, man, you're going to love that. The ability to just kind of trot along with your horse all day, you know, with the falcon helping them.
Yep.
She'll have dozen runs a day in her. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
it's wonderful.
Man, it's been in the cards for a while, and finally made it happen. So
I took mine hunting one time, and it took us about 6 hours to find a hare, and we had trotted them along or just walked them along, and we were in low gear, just putting along at about 2 to 5 miles an hour. And they did 19 miles before we finally jumped a rabbit, and they caught him. My two Salukis caught him. That's
what they do, but like no other, you know?
It was pretty incredible. I was blown away, dude. It was amazing. I was like, these dogs are no joke. Dang. That was crazy. It's kind of crazy to see them get straight lined by a super fast jack. That's their weakness, right? If a jack can just get up and just outrun them and get out of their sight, that's how they can get smoked. A greyhound, it's kind of a duel against time with the greyhound. If the hare can just jink them and turn with them and get out of and outlast them, he can win. But against a Saluki, the time is against the hare. He better just burn them out in the straightaway and get out of there.
Happen right now.
Yep. So I've seen both hares win. So, I mean, I've seen it happen with both types of dogs, and I like to combine the packs for that reason. But anyway, we're getting off topic here. I'm glad for you, buddy. That's going to be exciting. And there's more great dogs in your future. I can sense it.
Yeah, there we go. Well, so tell me, man, tell me about your travels, man. I've been jumping up and down about this one. I want to hear it.
Yeah. So I, shout out to Dustin Machado, Danny Butts. You guys rock. So I went to Canada. Everyone that is a patron and listens to this show knows, because I had a great time and I didn't shut up about it. And when I got back from Canada, I did the recap episode and I was just being myself, having a blast. Dustin reached out to me about a month later and was like, "Hey man, I heard your Canada episode. And it sounded like you have a great time. You like to experience new stuff. If you want to come out here and see some blood trailing work, you know, come on down." So I just kind of checked it out, and I was like, after talking to him for a while, I was like, yeah, man, that sounds awesome. And this is a little bit of HXP lore on the side, but having blood trailers on the show was my idea originally.
Oh, there we go. Yes. There we go.
When I first started, I was like, hey, we should have some more diverse crews on the show. I want to talk to like, blood trailing guys and like falconers and stuff. And finally, I got my own show and made it happen. But we did have some blood trailers on well before Dustin, but it was my turn to get into the mix. And so I flew to East Texas, and Dustin treated me like family, man. I got in there and was just hanging out. I could tell he's a super cool guy. And we just hit the ground running. And, right off the bat, I was a little apprehensive because that is a job. You know what I mean? It's on call basis. It's not like you and me just going hunting and having to just go whenever we want, come home, eat dinner. It was, man, if we don't get a call, we're just going to be sitting there twiddling our thumbs all day. So Dustin assured me when I was coming was the peak of his busyness in the whitetail season. So I was like, all right, cool. That'll be sweet.
First step, be available, right?
Yeah. And so I was like, I was there maybe on the opening morning, I don't know, dude, an hour, and his phone just starts blowing up. And I mean, his ringtone is like ducks quacking. It's like, and it was just a nonstop flock of ducks on the first morning. I was like, this guy lives on his phone. So my heart is pounding, and Texas is just such a different world than New Mexico and the Mountain West in general, All right. And I definitely am an open-minded person. So I really make sure that I just experience the culture from an absolute judgment-free zone, because I do get kind of annoyed with like Western hunters, especially my elk hunters, which I am one myself, but they're like, oh, Texas, like, oh, it's just high fence. That's not real hunting. Like, you sit behind a blind, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, dude, for the average person, let's just say you got someone in Philadelphia who's never been hunting in their life. The idea of drawing a tag in New Mexico for elk. Okay, say you were lucky enough to even draw. Okay, next. B, you come to New Mexico where it's all public land and everyone's out there, and it can be a zoo, or it can be this crazy wilderness experience that you've probably never encountered before, and you got to spend a lifetime in those woods to know where the elk are and how to hunt elk. You got to hire these guides or outfitters, and that can be intimidating or whatever. Or you can go to Texas where people are like, look, the deer are here. We know what to do. You can have this comfortable experience. I get it. It's available. It's accessible, and it's well known. You're getting a guide. You're getting an outfitter. You're getting a comfortable accommodation. I get it. Is it for me? Maybe not, but it's for a lot of people, and I understand why it exists. And it's just part of America. It's part of the beautiful diversity of America. So I think that's my first soapbox. I just want to get that right off my chest. Just because it's radically different than anything I've ever experienced doesn't mean it's better or worse, right or wrong. Because there's a lot of big game hunters that are up on their high horse about it, and it kind of annoys me. So like, you go to a high fence operation and you're like, well, okay, yeah, but at the same time, hey, these people are happy and they're hunting. I'm just saying, go for it. So that out of the way. This is whitetail, and a lot of this is low fence. Actually, all of it was low fence that we were on. I never went into a high fence, which I kind of wanted to, because I wanted to see like a zebra. You know what I mean? I wanted to see a kangaroo or something. Anyway, so we're in peak whitetail season. His phone is blowing up. My heart is pounding. Here we go. So we get our first call, man. And hey, at any point, I want you to just interject if you need to stop me, because I'm just going to roll, dude.
All right, go for it. Tell me.
I'm super excited. I've been wanting to talk about this for so long. I just got back. So, okay. We get the first call, and the first thing I got my interview hat on, right? The first thing I notice is Dustin has a very specific set of questions that he asks everybody that called him. He's like a detective. And that's kind of what I was found the most impressive to begin with, is that like, the first thing you got to figure out is what calls are worth your time. And this only comes from tons of experience, right? Because like, I'm a total noob. I would take any call just because I want to see it. But I told Dustin straight up, don't take garbage calls. If you think they're not worth it, I'd rather just see something go picture perfect. So luckily we had a lot of calls, and he's breaking it down. What happened? Oh, I hit the deer and he jumped up. Well, what do you mean he jumped up? Did he jump straight up? Did he jump back? Did he lurch forward? How did he run away? Did you find blood? What color was it? Did you find no blood? Was there green slime on the ground? Like all these questions. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even think about that. And so this hunter's like, yeah, I hit him. I think I hit him good. He humped up, but he took off into the forest, and I tracked him in there. And I couldn't find him. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird, but okay. So I'm just excited. We drive there, we get there, super nice people. It's this guy and his son. He hit the deer at his feeder and it took off into the woods. And I was like, all right, cool. So they're chatting. Dustin's getting more information. And like, have you ever done this before? Have you ever blood trailed before, Chad?
Yeah, but not like professionally. I've just always been the last hope that somebody calls, Yeah. And I've done it a few times,
So like, I thought it was going to be like, we get the dog out and he like, come here, boy. And you like sniff where the deer got hit. And he kind of like does his little circles. And like,
you just cut him loose at the truck and watch the go, or? Dude,
we get there. Okay. We get there. We get to the hit site. We just parked off to the side. Dustin's like, where did he get hit? The dog's not out. It's in the box still. We walk over there. We just kind of look around for blood. And I'm just like, oh, expecting. I had all these preconceived notions in my head. Dustin just walks over to the dog box, opens the dog box. Dude, Dutch jumps out of that truck and just rolls out like immediately. And I was like, whoa, like I didn't even have time to get my GoPro. Like by the time I erroneously thought he was just going to have to do all this stuff for some reason. I don't know why.
Begin here spot,
Yeah. So like Dustin was like, yo, grab your GoPro. And I was like, okay. So I was like moseying back to the truck. And by the time I like opened the door, Dutch was gone. And I was just like, what? Where'd he go? And so he's like, oh yeah, he just took off. And I was like, oh, damn. So like, I had an alpha linked to so like we had two alphas, and I was watching him on my own headset or handheld. And he just rolls out into the thicket, finds the deer in like 1 minute. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. And so like he stopped moving. And so I was like, what's he doing? Is he trying to figure it out? And Dustin like looks over to me. He's like, he's feasting. And I was like, what? And so like another thing, I have experienced thick forest in Canada. It was an entirely different kind of thick forest than what I experienced in East Texas. And I don't like it, dude. I'm just going to say it right off the bat. It's horrible.
We're talking mesquite or briars or dude, what were you dealing with?
Briars, lemon, these like wild lemon trees that have thorns that are like an inch long.
Yeah.
And like, I know thorns, dude. Everything in the desert is venomous, pokey, or both. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like this is, dude, like briars, they suck. Like they're like so thick and they like grab onto your clothes and they're like vines. That's what annoyed me so bad. So like here I go, like where I'm from, you can just push everything out of the way, no matter what it is. You know, even if it's spiky, you just push a mesquite out of the way. You just step over a cactus. It's not like it's that thick. But like I'm walking through there, dude, my hands are getting all cut up because I'm trying to push these stupid briars out of the way. I don't even know what a briar is, you know?
Right.
It's, dude, so lame. The dog went in and found the deer in like 100 yards. But what had happened was the deer was like running down the trail and then just like for whatever reason just jumped off to the left and then tumbled down a creek and like fell down into this thicket. And so the hunter was like, I would have never found him. And like, I couldn't even see the deer. Like I could see the GPS that he was like right there. And I was like, I don't even see the dog. And I was like walking with Dustin and another gentleman named Danny Butts and who is a protagonist of this story later in the day. And we're like pushing through and there's the deer like right down there in this creek bottom, like totally obscured. And as I was walking up to the deer, Dustin's like, whoa, look, a cottonmouth. And apparently right next to the dead deer was this cottonmouth like laying there. So I got a 2-for-1, man. I got to see two things I'd never seen before. A cottonmouth and a dog find a dead deer in like 1 minute.
Right.
So yeah, that was crazy.
How big was it? Was it a big one or?
I don't even know what a big one is, but it was like a foot long, maybe like a foot and a half long.
Yeah, it's not bad. How wide? That's the thing.
That's the thing.
Like a can of Coke or,
I went on a nerd rampage. I feel bad for Dustin because like I had to know everything about a cottonmouth because I'd never seen one. You know what I mean? So they're apparently in the rattlesnake family. They're in Crotalinae. And yeah, so it was like rattling its tail, but it has no rattles, which I thought was kind of cool. And they smell really bad, which I thought was kind of weird. Yeah,
that is not a suggestion. That is that they stink real bad.
We just like poked it with sticks and made it go away, but I was really enjoying it. They got like a weird fat, almost like a puff adder. They have like a fat body. They're kind of like.
Yeah, a little stubby tail.
Yeah. I just thought they were super cool. I also saw a copperhead while I was there too, which was really neat. I've never seen a copperhead before, but
pretty.
Yeah, they're freaking beautiful. Oh my God. There was a guy who said he was immune to copperheads. He's been bit by so many. Do you think that's true? You think that's possible?
I don't think so. Personally, I don't. I know that, like a lot of snakes do that false bite stuff where they just pop you without
dry bite.
Yeah. I think that's what it is most of the time, in my humble opinion. Yeah.
HXP listeners, tell me if you think it's possible to become immune to copperhead bites by being bit by so many. You're such a legend of the briars that you're immune to copperheads now.
But copperheads are immune, are allergic to me.
There you go. Yeah, they bite you and then they die.
Yeah, there you go.
So I was like, wow, this could be crazy easy. I didn't think about that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just thought it was going to be this like epic adventure music playing and like,
left foot, right foot,
left
foot, right foot.
And one thing I really loved about this East Texas stuff, and one of the ultimate reasons I came here was, dude, it's off leash work. And that's rad, dude.
Yeah, it is cool.
It's like hunting. Well, it is hunting, but like, I just love that we didn't have to like, follow a dog through that on a leash. I want the dog to go do its job and then me kind of come to it. And what if you're on lead and the deer's alive still? You know what I mean? In Texas, in East Texas where we were, the dog can like bay the deer and you can like come in and shoot it, which what I was really hoping for. And patrons, you already know the content's there, my friends. I did get awesome GoPro footage of me going in on a bay with a wounded deer.
You did.
That was rad, dude. So, anyway, so like, I was like, whoa, this could be crazy easy. The hunters were so pumped, dude. They were such nice people. And the hardest part of that job was like, man, we had two other calls to take, and those people are just so happy. They want to treat you. They want to give you iced tea. They want to hang out. And it's hard to just be like, we got to go. You know what I mean? We got to go to the next one. And so it was just crazy how quick it happened. And Dustin was like, well, we're off to a great start. And I was like, come on, shitty shooters. Like, I just want more terribly shot deer so I can see this. So we roll out and we go to the next call. And dude, this was hilarious, yo. So like we get to this place. Okay, this guy's like, I shot this deer. And it, the whole spiel. Dustin breaks it down. What happened? We get to this place and we drive all the way across. To me, it just felt like we drove all the way across the county, but I don't know. It's so hard to see with distances because of all the bushes and stuff. But we get to the next stand. This guy comes out and his wife comes out. They're sitting in the stand together and he shot. Okay, this is what he told us. All right, so the deer came out at 40 yards. He peeled his head away from the scope to look at the deer, and then he cranked the magnification up on his scope to like 15x, dude. And the deer is like 40 yards away. So he put the crosshairs on the crease of the deer's shoulder and shot. Well, like I guess. I mean, I think he thought, from what I gathered from him, he thought that if you crank the magnification up on your scope, it made your gun more accurate. Because it like got even more fine detailed. I know. And like, I'm being super respectful, of course. It's a client, so I'm just like, yeah.
It's very nice you did that.
Well, and so what he did was, he's like, I put it right behind his shoulder and I pulled the trigger. Well, it turns out he put it on the crease of his back leg instead of his front leg.
Zoomed into freaking atomic level, you're gonna make mistakes like that.
I know. He's like, my whole scope was just fur and a crease and I shot, and then when I pulled off, I realized I shot him in the back. And I was like, oh my God. 40 yards, I could have chucked a spear into that deer. Anyway, so I was like trying to fight back giggling, I was like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. So we get there, we cut out Dutch. It's raining. It's actually a terrible weather. This like terrible rainstorm rolled in. We cut out Dutch. He takes off, dude, and he's rolling out. And that's, again, I just can't get over that, dude. A, how fast an animal can move through that horrible, thick stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And B, how they just, dude, it's like he knows where the hit site was. We didn't walk him or anything. We just opened the box. He jumps out, darts over there where the deer got hit, stands there for like, I don't know, he took a leak and just took off. You know what I mean? I was just like, damn. And so all I'm listening for is that bark, right? Because that means the deer is still on its feet. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, come on. But anyway, he's rolling out. He goes for like 20 minutes and then he stops moving. And I was like, whoa, he already found the deer. And this guy is elated. He's pumped. And that deer is dead, right? Mm-hmm. So we like go all the way in there. And the deer was already dead, luckily. But dude, the deer had only been there like, I don't know, like an hour. And I guess the vultures had already like eaten its eyes out, which is really surprising to me. I was like, whoa, they got there quick, but okay. I just thought that was really surprising. I'd never seen that before. There's a lot of black vultures there and they just are like really aggressive when they see something dead. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it just surprised me. That's tangential. Mm-hmm. But again, I was like, oh man, I was hoping the deer would be on its feet, but still just blown away at the efficiency of this whole operation. And it was already kind of sinking in even by the second find, but I couldn't get over that feeling, Chad, of like when you show up, you are the only houndsman in the entire world that someone is happy to see initially. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, dude, we showed up and the relief on those people's faces, right? Just like when you arrive and you have, you have a good reputation like Dustin and Danny do. And they're just so happy to see you, Mm-hmm. And I just couldn't get over that great feeling. And then, dude, when Dustin and I were standing there and Dustin was like, he found the deer. the look on that guy's face, it's electric, man. And it's super satisfying. Like I feel like I could do it just for that feeling right there. Like just to see those people, like this dude's like a 55-year-old man. He looked like a 10-year-old girl that just got like a great Christmas present. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I was like, dude, that's so, I mean, he's like, oh, you start shaking our hands and stuff. I'm like, that's amazing. What a feeling. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I thought that was incredibly addictive. You know what I mean? Just like feeling that, just making people so happy like that. And you are like, you come in and you're the hero of the day. Like that's super duper cool. So we get out there, we take pictures. They're super pumped. And the great thing is we have tons of calls. We help them drag the deer a little ways, but then we got to get going, you know? So, they were happy to just stop and take grip and grins and stuff. And that was kind of our out. We took off and headed to the next call. But the next call we took, the deer had been hit and took off for hours and hours. And so I was like, you know, how's this going to be? It was like all day. We got there. It was Danny's turn to let out his dog named Rip, who is related to Dutch, who's the super famous dog. And you know, we get there. It's this kid who hit the deer, and they don't know what happened. They saw the deer kind of buck up and take off and run into this like terrible thick stuff. Like I don't even know. It's like ragweed, but it's like 10 feet tall. Okay, and it's like full of briars and stuff. Like it just sucks.
Goldenrod? Does that sound
okay? Right? Yes, that's what it looked like. Yeah. It had like a golden tufts all over the top, but it was like super polleny. Like when you walk through it, it's just like,
oh yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You're just like, my nose.
I used to hunt rabbits back in Louisiana. But anyway, I know it's horrible. It gets in your nose and everything.
Dude, my nose was literally a faucet. My eyes were like super itchy and red. And I took a Zyrtec before because I was like, dude, this is gonna be a gnarly day. Like I could already tell, you know. But we cut Rip loose. Same thing, man. Rip hits the ground running and takes off into the wood, takes off into that thick, nasty stuff, and finds the deer immediately. Within like 10 minutes, he finds the deer. We let a pup go with him, and the pup barked at the deer, but they knew the deer was dead because Rip wasn't barking. And so I was like, dang, you guys make this look easy, dude. Like
and that was hours old, like 4 or 5 hours. Dude, that was
like 5-hour old track, dude.
Nice. That's cool.
I mean, I don't know if that's old or not. You know, I didn't really, I mean, I asked so many questions, you know, but like I was just the efficiency, you know what I mean? Like we just show up, shake some hands, open the box, the dog takes off, and dude, Danny and Dustin both were like, you're getting super spoiled right now. Like, this is not always how it goes. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, they were showing me videos and stuff of the dogs finding dead stuff underwater. And I was like, I'd like to see that. You know what I mean? That'd be crazy. It's like the sense of the dog to be able to find something underwater. That's crazy.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's gonna float to the top just like anything else, and then it sticks around the bank. It's just the dog has to, be either experienced or intelligent enough the first time to deal it. I've talked plenty of times about the dogs tracking ducks on the water. You know, now if it's stationary under there, now even some of those videos I posted, you could see the dogs indicating on ducks that go underwater. You know, and that are hiding under the thing. So. Yeah, something as big as a deer and as musky as a deer, all the oils and grease coming off their foreheads during season and everything. So I'm not saying it's easy by any measure, you know, but that takes a lot of miles for the dog to comprehend that. You know, it's easy for me to go find a duck, but you have to really be dedicated to put that many deer under your dog in a season. So that's awesome, man.
It was crazy. And so, you know, we put down on 7 deer. We found them all. I'm going to fast forward because that was the same scenario. It was just so excellent. We put down on a deer. They found the deer. Wonderful, happy customers.
Just kind of hanging out, watching the Garmins, right?
Yeah. And to see the kids so happy, you know what I mean? Like that's another thing that was wonderful. This was this kid's first deer, and he was super sad and embarrassed that he took a bad shot. And in reality, it wasn't a bad shot. It just the deer is tough, and it took off too far into the thick, nasty stuff for them to track. Like one of the guys
standing almost on top of those things sometimes, you know,
like that one that fell down the creek, the first one. Like I would have never seen that deer in a million years. Yeah, like, I don't even know how you can track through that. And then, dude, like this one guy was like, I don't track. He's like, if it goes into the thicket, I just call a dog guy. And I was like, dang, okay. Like,
right.
I mean, but then we go in there and I was like, I see why you don't track. This is like terrible. Like, horrible. So I'm going to fast forward this. All right. So there was a lot going on and we were succeeding and it was feeling incredible, but secretly I wanted a hard one. I wanted one where I felt like we're sweating. You know what I mean? So we got this call from this archer and he was way far away from us. Okay. So we had to put him off until like, dude, it was like 9:30 at night when we got there. It was late in the dark. Okay. And we were all beat, dude. We were super tired. And we get there. This archer was like, yo, I hit this doe. The arrow went through it. I know I hit it too far back. There's green all over the arrow. It's a bad shot. And it's rare someone calls in on a doe, but this guy was like, hey, I don't like leaving stuff behind. I don't like leaving wounded animals. It's my prerogative to find this animal. We were like, whoa, dude, awesome sense of honor. So we were like, hey, let's put down. And Dustin was kind of giving me the grin. He's like, this one's going to be what you came for. You know what I mean? This is going to be a good one. And so I was like, okay, crazy. Here we go. So it's pitch black, dude. And you already know how I feel about dogs running through that thicket, dude. Combine that with pitch black. There's no moon and the canopy is thick. So I'm already like, woo, getting all excited to see some crazy nocturnal dog work. You know? And so we're like, hey, let's put Lip, the puppy, down and he can learn let's put Lip down first. Cause apparently, and I didn't know this, gut trails are kind of easy to follow.
Okay.
So we put Lip down and we let Lip go. Lip takes off. But he's confused. He goes out there on the trail. He gets a little lost. You see him making circles. We go in there to try to see what's going on. We walk through those woods. They weren't too thick in some spots. In other spots, they were like awful. But Lip, we got him back on the trail. He's a baby. I think he was like, I don't know. He's like barely a year old or something. So we were like, I don't know what's going on. We kind of try to see what the deal is, but he's like, I don't know. He's a pup. So we're like, let's cut Dutch in and Dutch will help him out. So we go back up to the truck. Lip beat us back up to the truck after we called him in. And we get up back to the truck. We open the box. Dutch walks over, like runs over to where the arrow is sticking in the ground, sniffs it for like a millisecond. He bolts. And what was exciting is he was literally exactly on Lip's trail, except where Lip made a loss. Dutch like jumped over to the left slightly, like moved over to the left and picked up the trail and took off. And so we're watching the Garmins, of course. And then Lip packed up with him and followed Dutch. And it's, dude, picture this with me. All right. It's a beautiful, cold, still East Texas night. It's the apprehension in the air. What's going on? You're looking at the Garmins. It's dead silent. And then in the distance, I was like, oh, yes. And then we're like, oh, he's on his feet. Like they see, and then, Dustin's like, they see the deer. They're looking right at it. And I was like, oh my God, like, here we go. So like what would happen is you'd hear them bark, 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 bark. And then you would see them moving quickly and then they'd slow down and then they would be really slow in a line moving. And I was like, me, I get crazy excited. And also I am a question asker. So I was like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And Dustin's like, this is what's happening. They're sniffing. They bumped up on the doe in her bed. She jumped up. It was a sight chase as long as they could see her. And then they dropped their noses down, shut up and went back to trailing. And then it was silent again for like, dude, I don't know, 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes. Brrr, again. And I was like, oh, so like the race is turning into this like sight, scent, but the intervals between sight and scent are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Right. And you can look on the Garmin and they're starting to run in circles now. So the deer is like running in circles. And I'm like, oh, dude. And then he's like, dude, they're chasing her. And I was like, that is so rad. Like, first of all, could you imagine doing this with a leash? No way.
No.
And then also I'm like, dude, this is so badass. This is like, these dogs I'm going to get to the end here, but like, this is what blew me away, dude, on every level. Okay. These dogs they're not deer dogs. They're not bear dogs. They're not lion dogs. They're not zebra dogs. They are finding this deer, not any deer. This one deer. And the guy, the archer, was telling us, he's like, dude, like 50 deer were in that herd, like over the course of the day that came into this feeder after she got hit and took off. So it's like you have all this contamination, the guy walking around, tons of deer, pigs come in, and these dogs in the pitch black, like 6 hours later, roll out and find this deer in the dark, and they freaking run her down in the dark and catch her. And I was like, that is so badass. Like, I can't get over that. I've seen dogs. I saw a 12-hour bear race in the snowy blowdowns of British Columbia. I've seen dogs running 45 miles an hour across the desert. You know, I've seen dogs doing incredible physiologic tasks. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, dude. That it's like your dog detective. You and the dog are both detectives. One is the detective of the mind, the human who gets the information, and the other is the detective of the nose. And as a team, super successful. And I love that, dude. Can't get enough of that. It was so badass. So they caught the doe. They like caught her and like dispatched the doe. I was like, that is badass, because as a sighthound hunter, I like dogs that can get in there and get it done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't beat around the bush and bay it up while it's skipping along at 2 miles an hour for, you know, another quarter mile. You know, grab it. If you can get it, grab it. Yeah.
But I was like, oh yeah, super tough dogs. And they're like, yo, they won't do that to a buck. Like, you know what I mean? Like a big buck on his feet. They're not stupid. They'll be like, I'll just bark at this buck. You know what I mean? But
hey, what kind of dogs are these too?
So I asked that, and they are Western specials, dude. Straight up. They're a combination of all kinds of different hounds, and you know, I don't know. I asked and I got Western special.
So I just assumed cur dog, but then you hound barked there, you know?
Oh yeah, like, no, they're hounds. They have like long floppy hound ears.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're just like best to best breedings throughout time is kind of how I interpreted it. He was kind of secretive about how Dutch is bred. So I was just like,
there you go.
All right. But I can respect that. Whatever. I don't care if he was half poodle. Dude, we were out there smoking dead deer. I was like, this thing could be a Chihuahua, Great Dane, Bulldog, Hound mix. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
This is badass. And you know what? If someone's like, hey, he's a Western special, this is a hound that's been best to best for a long time, I'm just like, that's cool. Clearly it's working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
So he's like a tricolor, I don't know, like 50 pounds, maybe 50, 65 pounds, strong, not super short legged, but not tall, leggy, you know, like a really leggy pointer or something. You know what I mean? He kind of looked like a beagle in colors. I don't know. Look up East Texas Trackers. Those guys, that's there's a page. He's got millions of pictures of Dutch there. You can see what he looks like. Yeah, he's kind of like black and tan saddleback, and Rip was like a beautiful blue color. I'm assuming that came from like a blue lacy or something. I don't know. Yeah. They weren't fans of blue lacies though. Just not for what they do. They just prefer what they work well with. So I'm going to interject, guys. Check this out. Patrons already know, but I have talks with Dustin. I finally, dude, all the trip, I was like, I'm getting a podcast with you. And he's like, no. He's like, let's just have a good time. And then by the end of it, finally, after me hounding him enough, we sat down, had dinner. We had some good times, and I finally got him to record. And once I got him going, he was happy to talk about his favorite thing in the world. And I got a long, awesome talk. Some of it's going to be aired here on this episode, but a lot of it is going to be aired on the Patreon page as Tailgate Talks, you guys. So go check that out. So, going back. So that happens a lot with All Mixed Up. You and I, we can get guests on and have a long, great talk. It's way too long for the show here. I mean, me and you have had talks where like, if we aired the entire talk and didn't air some of it on the Patreon page, they would be like 4-hour long episodes.
Yeah.
So go check out the Patreon page, you guys. That's where a lot of this is going to be. So anyway, so back to that. They caught the deer. We go in the pitch black. I was just super happy that the archer was just wanted the deer. You know what I mean? That was super great. We helped him pull the deer out. It was all good. And it was a great way to wrap up a day. Man, we were so tired, dude. So tired. But we had a great day of successes. And we woke up the next morning, hit it again, kept finding deer. It was great. Finally, this was the last call. We were finding dead ones, and it was awesome. This was the last call of the day. The hunter was like, I think I hit the deer in the leg. I think I saw its leg kind of flopping around as it took off, and that's it. I know I hit it low. So we were like, okay, this deer is definitely not going to be dead.
Yeah.
And so
you're doing cartwheels on the side again, right?
Yeah. So I was like crazy that my last one is going to be like this. You know what I mean? Like exactly what I was kind of hoping for. Although the night race was so dope, dude.
Yeah.
And so, okay. So we get there. This is what I got the video of too. We put Rip down this time. Dutch was pretty beat, and it was Rip's turn to get in there after him. I'd seen Rip recover a few already. And so, Rip takes off into the woods. We're listening, watching intently, and dude, way out there, like 400 plus yards. I was like, oh yeah. They found him. Yes. And so we were like, let's do it. Let's go. We saw that he had the deer stopped. I grabbed my GoPro, pushed play, and Danny and I go into the woods. Dustin's like, I'm not going in there. You guys can. And so I was like, hell yeah, I'm going in. Like, let's do it. I'm going in guns blazing, proverbially, of course. And so, we go in and I'm just going to say this to the listeners too. The hunters do not dispatch the deer. Only Danny or Dustin dispatch the deer. It's just a safety and liability thing. I wouldn't want a stranger trying to shoot a deer over my dog. That's heinous. So I totally understand. So Danny or Dustin finishes the deer if it must be finished off. And so this will be the first time I've seen them finish a deer off. I'm following Danny Butson, a great houndsman. Patrons also got a tailgate talk with him, picking his brain about his hog dogs. So, we'll get there in a minute, Chad, because you're coming into this story too. So, okay, back to the moment. I hear the bay, boom, 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 dogs just lighting up. And I love that, you guys. My dogs are silent when they hunt, but the idea that dog is a deer-seeking missile, and he's telling you, he's right here, everybody, right here. Come to my voice. Bark, bark, bark. Just go to my voice. And the deer, I'm looking right at him, is such a cool thing. Like, people call in animals, you know what I mean? Like calling in an elk, calling in a turkey, calling in ducks. That's so fun, right? I love calling animals in. What a cool way to interact with nature. I like it even better when the dog is like, he's right in front of me. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's even cooler. And so we're sneaking through. It takes us time to get there. Finally, we get to the deer. We're creeping up, dude, like commandos. The dog has the deer totally distracted. Like you were saying, hypnotized. Look at me. Mm-hmm. And Danny creeps around the bush. Danny, though, a total professional. He doesn't shoot. He's like, come here. Like, get over here and get your film on. And I was like, dude, what a badass. Cause like he could have just smoked the deer. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I creeped up behind him and I put my camera on the deer. It's right in front of us, dude. He raises his rifle. His scope didn't come on. I was like, oh no. I just lost my headphones just a second. So the scope didn't come on and I was like, no. And Danny's like trying to kind of fiddle with it while the deer breaks and takes off. So we're like, dang it. And he's like, I don't know what's going on. Apparently he fell and his scope like fell into a puddle or water or something. I wasn't exactly sure what happened, but he tested it yesterday and it worked. And before we headed in, he tested it and it came on. So obviously he didn't think it was a problem, but of course, right when we're looking at the deer, it didn't come on. So we're sitting there fiddling with it, trying to make it work. He's like, oh my gosh, seriously right now? And I'm like, it's okay, man. Just like make it work, like, and he's just like, yeah, like he doesn't say, this is all unspoken, but he's just like, we got to make it work. So we go in and again, the dog has the deer bayed, but the deer sees us and breaks. And as soon as the deer sees us, the whole tenor of the experience changed. Once the deer kind of know we were there, he was a lot harder to get him stopped. You know what I mean? And so like the dog definitely stopped him multiple times, but he would just break instantly. Like as soon as we got in range, which was kind of frustrating, but I was loving it. Dude, literally at one point in the video, I was like, this is making for gripping television. Like, and of course, Daddy's like, this dang deer. Like, And so he finally we come around the corner and the dog has the deer stopped, and Rip has the deer stopped in this like super thick spot. Danny raises his rifle, puts it on him, boom, shoots the deer. The deer jumps up and takes off. I knew he got him pretty good. And then the Rip's right behind him, dude. And the deer runs into this crazy thicket. And I don't know if other parts of the Southeast have a tree called a wild lemon, but it is like the thickest, sharpest, nastiest thing I've seen in a while. And I've seen Devil's Club in Canada. It was on par or worse than Devil's Club. So we had to kind of work our way through there, but then it kind of got more open. We worked around. The dog got the deer stopped in another thicket. He's running around him, kind of like orbiting the deer, barking. The deer actually like charged at the dog, and you can tell the deer is pretty injured, right? So Danny raises up his rifle, shoots the deer again. The deer is mortally wounded. The deer comes out into a piney area, and with Rip right behind him. And then Danny puts the deer down, euthanizes the deer right there. And I was like, dang, dude, that was super exciting. Again, the whole 8-minute video is on the Patreon page. You guys, you can check out the entire thing. It was freaking rad. I admire Danny for just persevering, making it work when, the odds were stacked against him. And he was super embarrassed. And I was like, dude, don't worry. I think it was badass that you just made it happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like push through it and made it happen. But I didn't care if Danny had to run up there and like jump on the deer and like bite it to death. I thought it was badass. You know what I mean? This was amazing. It's like, how else are you going to be able to just come up on an animal like that and just see it? Like the dog is like, he's right here. And because you have this amazing tool, the hound, you can just like creep up on it and just see it standing right there. I don't know. I can't get over that. It's just so cool. It was what an amazing tool. And again, it was a kid who hit the deer. So when we got the deer down and finally they were able to kind of work their way through the thicket up to where we were, that kid was so pumped, so grateful, so excited. It was a nice buck. It really was a nice buck. And what a wonderful feeling to just be like succeed. I had all this adrenaline, right? So I was just like, whoa. But I was super impressed with the dog work. Rip was a beast. And it was really cool to see that. So,
and then making the shot with a dead scope on the rifle.
Yeah,
too.
Nothing, right? You're just like approximating it. I mean, you can kind of imagine the red dots in the middle of it was a red dot scope, right? So you're kind of like the red dots in the center, put the center on the deer's vitals, and it worked. It worked. But it was an incredible experience. And if there's any questions you have, man, please by all means ask. I'm just regaling of the stories, and it was just crazy. I guess my biggest takeaways is one, the feeling of just like everybody is pumped that you're there, so relieved. It's like when you're stuck at the beach in your car, or your truck, you're buried up to your axles, and your buddy shows up with his winch. You're just like, yes, I am
here. I'm good. I got some help.
Yeah, it's such a relief. And then also, I just can't get over the versatility of dogs, man. Like, you can have these little terriers that are going underground and duking it out with something underground. You have sighthounds that can run over the prairie like a freaking cheetah. You have these hounds that can go in and parse out an individual animal and find it in the pitch black and bring it down. It's just amazing. And I can't get over it, the versatility of these animals and how incredible they are. And lastly, and this is a big shout out, thank you, Dustin Machado and Danny Butts. You guys are the bomb. I had a wonderful time. I will be back. Danny's got curs and pits, and he's a very successful pig hunter. And during the day, so that's what's got me really pumped. Night hunting is for the birds. I'm over hunting at night. And so, no offense to my coon hunters out there. I am just not a night owl at all. 10 o'clock, I'm in bed. So, and hey, Danny said straight up, Chad, come on down and come hunt with us. You're a man of the thickets as well. So,
nice. Now, good stuff.
He said, bring your yags.
Oh, there we go. I'd have to get a hold of some of my local buddies here and see if I could pry one of them back out of their hands to come down with. That'd be great.
One of your famous pig yags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He said the bay dogs can move pretty good through those thickets too. And I'm just going to leave it as a friendly debate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, good. That's good. That's fantastic is what that is.
Yes, my friend, so, yeah, and that's no aspersions to my terrier people. That episode was good, all in good debate and fun. And I do 100% agree with what you said. And I officially back off my stance on that.
That's it, man. That's traditional. That's Old Faithful, though. I mean, that's what kind of curs? Black mouse?
Yes, I believe. It's all in the Tailgate talk. He talks about them. But yes, I believe so. Black mouse.
There you go. That's Old Faithful, man. 2 or 3 black mouse and some type of bulldog. There you go.
This is what I like when someone's like, when I'm talking to someone about your dogs, this is how I know, what we're talking about. We were just talking about hunting with dogs, and the first thing Danny does, whips up his cell phone, his gallery, and it's just video after video after picture after video, infinitum scrolling of his dogs catching pigs, baying pigs.
Yeah,
right? I love that. I'm like, okay,
yeah. Let me show you. I got more. Hold on, no. Look at this one more.
Dude, I was I was like, all right, I'm coming back. So stay tuned, everybody. I will be going back to the ETX. I'm going to be catching some pigs with Danny Butts. That is going to be awesome. And if there's any calls rolling in on some high fence exotic action, I'll be going out with Dustin as well. And we'll be finding more cool stuff. I missed the exotics. Dustin just found his first Neil guy. I was really hoping that we could find.
That would have been awesome.
I know, dude. He found an elk once for somebody on a high fence. An elk, dude. Like a Rocky Mountain elk.
Yep.
And he had a video of the dogs baying this elk. And I was like, that is something you will never, ever see in New Mexico. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so they'll put you under the jail for that, right? I mean,
yeah, for sure, dude. I saw a herd of zebra donkeys.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, Texas, you're so weird." Kangaroos.
Why did they just go with zonkey? I don't get it.
No,
why they go with z-donk?
Okay, here's why, dude. Because apparently it's a zonkey. If it's I know I'm gonna get this wrong, and I don't have Google in front of me right now. If it's a zebra male and a donkey female, it's a z-donk, and if it's a zebra female and a male donkey, then it's a zonkey. And I may have that backwards, but that's how those stupid portmanteau names are.
Yeah.
It's like a liger or whatever.
And a tigon or whatever it is.
Yes. So I guess a mule is the same way though, right? If it's a female donkey and a male horse, isn't it called like I don't know, like a henny or something? I don't know. There's
honestly, I have no clue.
I know it's not a mule.
I imagine logic tells me that it's probably something, but I honestly never heard of it, and I should. I guess at this point I should know better. But I don't.
You're a horseman anyway, so not a mule guy.
No, not so much. I got to mess with them before, but never all the way.
I had a wonderful time in Texas, you guys. It's not over, but yeah, thanks for hearing us out, everybody. I'm gonna roll right into Dustin's own words from himself. And if you want to see the rest of this awesome and pretty lengthy talk, go to the Patreon page. It's all there. Chad, if there's anything you want to add to this or questions you want to ask, brother, lay it on me, man.
Mainly I want to know what kind of dogs he was using, how far they ranged, if they, I'd assume that they'd try and bay them up if they could, but catch the small ones, that's going to happen. And, you hammered all that. So, a lot of the shots he's going to take are pretty close. What rifle, does this, deer, reclaiming, rescue, whatever you want to call it.
Deer rescue.
Professional. Yeah. Deer rescue. What kind of caliber does he prefer for, close range precision shooting? I take
we used a 30-30 lever action. That's a great question.
There you go. That's old, tried and true,
Great question, my friend. Very short barrel. He was using oh my gosh, he's gonna kill me for this. I think he said a Rossi. Was the brand. A very specific short barreled brush lever action 30-30. I think he said it was a Rossi. And he said they're actually kind of hard to find. When you find one, he loves it. And that's what we were using. Great question. I should have been more specific on that. I was running through there with like a Bowie knife in my teeth, like a pirate. You know what I mean? No, I just look like a wide-eyed kid running around excited. You know what I mean? They could have been like, Seth, jump on that deer and fight him down. I'd been like, yes, sir. Run up there.
I'm on it.
Jump on his back.
I used to try. I mean, that's perfect. That kind of makes me feel good too, because that's That's what I used to try and keep in my scabbard when I'd hog hunt off a horseback, for just quick little pop shots, never shooting anything that was bait up. It just, if a sounder busts and the landowner wants you to kill as many as you can, you'd wait till the dogs passed and then just take little pop shots at whatever ran across the road in front of you. And that's what I use, is a lever 30-30, you know? So
it's the classic.
Yeah, a little 240 grain thing, and if it doesn't work, you could, you know, harpoon it at him, you know, and it's still going to shoot the same, you know. Iron sight, oh well, he uses a red dot. Yeah, I imagine that would be, you know, when you're shooting over dogs, I'm an iron sight man myself, but
personally I am too. But these guys are
shoot over top of the dogs, just a little extra, you know. I would never hold that against anybody, you know, at that point. So that was what I was interested in, and I think you hit everything else I was really curious about, man. What was the temperatures? What were the dogs working in?
It was not blazing hot. One of the days was really rainy and awful, and there was a hard frost in one of the nights. So the first day it was like 65, 70, and then a cold front blew in, and the temperature was like 20. And then then it was like frosty, and then it rose up to like 50. No, it rose up to like 40 in the daytime, I think. So
and is the dog? Oh, sorry. Go.
No, you're good, brother. What's up?
All right, is the dog just burying his face in the wound when he got there? You know? Like down, or is he chewing on the? Because I know some people feed feet all the time, so the dog develops such a flavor for it. Not that they need to only focus on the feet. I mean, they're smelling the adrenaline and the everything. You know, like you said, the gut shot and everything. And so they're smelling the whole cocktail. Mm-hmm. But I know some feed their dogs the feet so much that becomes their favorite part, and they just got to start chewing on the hooves, you know?
Yeah, dude, that's a great question. So that's also what surprised me, is that when the dog finds a dead one, how do you keep it there and not just want to go find another deer or whatever? Mm-hmm. Dude, they just start feasting. They train those dogs that they can open them up at the flank.
Okay.
And
so they're not even going to the bullet hole. They're going right to the skin.
They go right at that soft skin right there where the flank is. And they just open up into the gut cavity, and they just start chowing down, dude, straight up. And
so they're chowing down on intestines and stuff,
just whatever comes out, bro. Yeah. And and I saw them training lip to never bite the head or the neck of the deer, only at the flank. And dude, no hunters cared. Nobody cared at all. You know, nobody wants the guts anyway. They're not ripping into the hams. They're just ripping into that soft gut skin right there. And they're literally, he's just like, eating guts, dude. Like, liver or whatever's right there. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't really paying attention. It smelled bad, so I'm assuming he got into the guts. But like, he's just chowing down, dude. That's his reward for finding that dead one, and that's why he just stays there until we get there. He's just having himself a nice lunch.
You got a party. Yep.
And I was like, genius. I was like, there's nothing exciting about a dead deer. They don't bark at it. Mm-hmm. He's just like, yeah, that just made me laugh. I was like, what's he doing? And Dustin's like, he's feasting. And I was like, he's feasting. And he was feasting. All right. So,
and that hit all my questions, man. That was the stuff I was really interested in. And then I wanted the blow by blow through the shot, you know, so
that's all I'm good for, is a play by play, brother. Mm-hmm.
We're living it, man.
Well, hey, we'll just roll into what Dustin has to say. And you guys remember that most of this is on the Patreon page. So let's roll right into it. This is Dustin Machado's own words. Thanks again, Dustin, Danny. And thanks again, everybody, for tuning in to Houndsman XP.
Let's hear it.
Oh, John Wayne went to going on that lever action.
He got it done.
He will never hear the end of that.
When you're listening to this, these are patrons listening to that, but go scroll for the video, you guys. It's there. Poor Danny. I saw him. He tried to turn on that red dot, and he looked back at me for a split second. He's a rock solid under pressure. He just went to going and doing what he needed to do, but I felt so bad for him.
He had to borrow a bullet out of my shirt pocket to finish the job.
Yeah, he got it done. No, good job, Danny. I would have.
Good old butts, old boy.
I felt like I should just run up and tackle the deer, bulldog that deer down.
You want to, but then that thing will kick your ass.
I know.
Because that deer was no doubt. He was strong.
That was a good deer. He rushed on Rip several times in the video. You can see him, but Rip knows what's up. I was proud of Rip.
He does. They know to keep their space. A smart dog knows to keep their space. A dumb dog will get hooked and cut quick.
I'm going to ask you, this is a question. You've kind of alluded to the answer several times, but I want to ask you definitively.
Yes, I will.
I'm a hunter. I shoot a deer. Boom. It's not the best shot. The deer takes off running.
How do you know it's not the best shot?
Because he takes off running in not a good way. He don't hump up nice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What is the most ideal thing for a hunter to do before he calls a blood trailer? Because today we did see some really nice scenarios where you were like, that guy did everything right. What is the best thing to do before you call? Let's say I'm a rifle hunter. I shoot the deer. Let's say I'm pretty sure I hit him in the guts. Let's just make it an easy scenario. I hit him too far back. His guts absorb that bullet, and he books it off into the woods. What should I do to make sure that it's the easiest for my blood tracker to have the best job possible?
Okay, so let's erase your gut shot that you knew you hit him back. Let's just talk about any rifle shot and then any bow shot.
Okay, perfect. Quick. Even better. Yeah, better.
Let's do it that way. So a rifle shot, we all expect it to drop or be within seeing distance, right? So I would think a rifle hunter would give anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes before they get out of the stand. At least 15 if it didn't drop right there. So go in. I expect a hunter to go in, try and find dig out marks, try and find anywhere where that deer bolted out of, try and find the blood trail. They don't just start bleeding right away where they're hit.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
you can examine the ground back behind where the deer was standing. You can see what hair's there. The hair will tell you a bunch of what's going on.
We're talking whitetail. We're going to tangent
whitetail deer. Yes,
yep.
Whitetail.
What does the hair tell you? What does the hair tell you?
So, long hair.
Because I learned all this.
Yeah. Long white hair is an armpit, front armpit, a back armpit, or a back belly. Anything in the chest, brisket area is going to be short white hair. You're going to have on a bullet that passes all the way through, you may not see anything at all.
Yeah.
You may not see anything. Probably light brown hair. If it did pass all the way through, light brown hair, and if you hit high in the back, you're going to see, first of all, that high in the back, you're going to get a spinal shock. They're going to hit the ground. And
those are the ones
that lay there for a while, or lay there for a little while, then pop up and haul ass, right?
Yep.
The creasing.
Yep. The void.
But yeah, that's right. So or above the void. On the top side of the back strap.
Gotcha. Yep.
Right? So on the top side of the back strap, you're going to see long brown hair with black tips on a white tail. All right? So the further up their neck, a shoulder shooter that got a little too high is going to have longer hair. Right?
Yep.
So it's just the way it works, right? So real quick, a side note, everybody, when you clean your deer, even if you're an experienced hunter, take time to pay attention when you clean your deer. Don't just go through the motions. Pay attention.
Learn the anatomy
of the deer while you're cleaning. Even when you're skinning it, the outer skin, the where the lungs are, where the liver is, where it holds in place. No matter how you hang it, it will hold. It's going to sag a little, but for the most, just pay. You don't have to do it with every deer, but just pay attention when you're skinning,
or even where that fur types are.
That's right. So you pay attention where your kid is.
Great point.
Yeah, you pay attention where your kid is when you're sliding that knife off. Right when he's standing around watching Dad skinning his deer. Right. Well, every once in a while, pay attention to what your buck looks like or your doe when you're skinning it.
I never thought to think fur types and stuff. That's such a good point, because you can do this yourself. You can be like, damn, I must have hit him too high from the long hairs.
Just by the evidence or anything, it tells us everything. A phone call is free advice. I have this, and this. What do you think? Man, how did it react when you hit him?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't believe in that. I do. When it comes to rifle shots, I know that a mule kick 9 times out of 10 is going to be somewhere up front. That's right. And so the evidence on the ground and what you're showing me is it doesn't give me a whole picture, but it starts narrowing things down.
Yeah.
Right. So. Anyways, I wanted to make that a point.
Yeah, because we're going to go back to that. So going back to everything they've done right. So you say it's okay to go in there and look. That's okay.
Go in there. You should. Anybody that you call. This goes back to the Facebook trackers. Anybody that tells you just call me when you're in the stand, and I'll come out there. Or just walk out there and do this or that. Yo, they check in, ask for references. Somebody besides a family member, ask for random hunters that they've trailed for. It doesn't hurt to ask questions at all. It doesn't. And but when you shoot with a rifle and the deer doesn't drop, or you don't see it run off and tumble over, snowplow and die, go off in there. You should go off in there. You should trail your own.
It's kind of your responsibility.
It is to do everything. Remember in the state of Texas that after you pull the trigger, release an arrow or release a bolt or whatever your firearm happens to be, as soon as that is released, the hunt is over and the recovery process is in play for up to 48 hours. So trail your deer, blood trail your deer. If you go in there and you run out of blood, there's nothing wrong with looking around. A good dog will work through that. As a responsible hunter, you do everything you can. Just remember where you stopped at. If you get confused or screwed up, back out and call somebody if you want to. And if there's a bunch of guys that can't that have been sitting around there partying all evening, hey, we go out there, we'll find that sumbug. Hey, sometimes it's just best to step away and make a phone call. The phone calls are free. It doesn't matter who you call. Everybody will give you good advice, or they will put you in contact with somebody that'll get you good advice. Right? So, and how many times did you see me turn down calls this weekend? Or how many deer do we find that they asked for a dog, but I gave them advice?
Yeah, actually.
They waited and they found
it on their own. Yep, that happened 4 times.
Yeah.
We were like, wait, just go out, bud. Just take a break. Yep, have a cup of coffee. Go sit down for about 2 hours. Then just go back with a fresh, level head. And then like 4 hours later, they call us, hey, I found it. Thank you so much.
That's right. And so that's what a responsible deer trailer should do. A responsible recovery guy should do.
Cheers to that.
Right? So, and then sometimes it's just like, hey, I don't want to go in that thick, nasty crap.
Yeah.
Just bring the damn dog.
Yeah.
And so that happens.
That also happened this week.
That's right. That also happened. And we will. It's not a problem.
It worked great for me.
Right? So it does. It happens. So, but we'll work with anything, right? So
so that ideal case is, you can go in there and look around, and if it's just too frustrating, take some time.
That's right.
And then maybe go back in a little bit. But if you're just frustrated, it may be all right to just call. And we'll go in there, but I do appreciate that really surprised me, because I came in with nothing, and I really appreciated how you didn't give me, you kind of let it unfold, and I asked all the questions and you answered, but also just by example. I watched a lot and I was just kind of taking mental notes and writing things down as you were doing them. But that's one thing I really liked, respected, and appreciated, is that every single call you were like, hey, go in there and look. Don't be afraid to go look for that deer. Yeah. Give it your best go first, and if you still can't find it, call me back. And a lot of people did call you back, but 4 of those guys were like, "Hey, I found it," and I was like, "That's a baller move right there."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
there's not. I
like that a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, there's not. People get nervous and frustrated, and they see things on inner Google. My friend Lance Self says on the inner Google, tracking dog. Well, sometimes that it works into people's heads and it makes them lazy, and takes not lazy on purpose, but I think that they forget their primal instincts a little bit and realize that there's a lot a human can do, and gathering of evidence that they can do, that they can relay just in case they need this. Yep. We are a just in case.
Yep.
Right? Yep. I prefer not being a last ditch effort.
Yeah, you're definitely not a last ditch effort.
When there's like 20 people out there,
and
then come back in, all right, we can't do it anymore. Although we've been there.
Yeah. What happened this week?
That's right. But it has made folks a little bit, in my opinion, I don't mind it. I'm there to help. no matter what. And if that's somebody's prerogative to have us just do that, and that's what they want to do, I'm there for them. If somebody wants to trail blood for 300-400 yards and then just, I'm exhausted, I'm done, and then come back in the morning and they get back on blood and they go another 200-300 yards, and then they're like, oh man, I what do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
Back out on the blood trail, call, we'll rock.
Yep, and that's the ideal case. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I really wanted to get at, is just like how, don't be afraid to go in there and look. That surprised me, and I like that. And I guess the last point I kind of want to get to is, I really liked that you're a detective first. And we've had a blood trailer on the show, and this was a while ago, and I kind of picked that up. So I kind of came in here with that mindset already, but seeing it for me was so crazy that you and Danny are straight up detectives. The first thing you guys do is I was carefully paying attention to the litany of questions you asked a hunter on the phone first. And then when you get to the ground, you're like a bloodhound yourself. I saw you walking around, looking, watching. You and Danny are down on the ground, walking around, and I just thought that was so cool that it's not just the dog. You are a team with him, right? You're analyzing what's happening here, and you're already giving yourself this expectation of what this race is going to be like, and then confirmed by Dutch. And so I thought that was super cool that you're a detective. You're a hound hunting detective.
Well,
There's no question there. I just wanted to say that.
No. So things happen out there, and I say it all the time. They happen in the woods. The majority of our customers where Danny and I trail at are lease hunters. The majority, 90% of them are lease hunters. So, which is different than other parts of the state, where there are lease hunters, a lot of lease hunters in other parts of the state, but there's a ton of ranch hunters that come in and hunt a ranch, and they have guides sitting with them, or it's a day lease, anything like that. Well, these folks that we tend to trail for live, eat, and breathe their lease. Right, so they shoot guns all year long. They're dialed in. Their kids are out helping them fill feeders. They have trail cameras. They know their deer. They know what are on the no shoot list, which you saw. What's on the shoot list. You know what I mean? So
different.
I mean, they are dialed in. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So when there's a mistake made here, whether it's the animal or the territory or the gun or the shooter itself, it's you have to put everything together. Our hunters here are not that they're these are people that hunt. They live for a living. It's traditional. It's everything. Yeah. Even if they were born out here in the country and then moved to the city to hunt, they still come out to family land like we did this morning.
Yeah.
That's been in the family.
They're taking it seriously, and you want to make sure that you're doing everything you can.
Absolutely. Yeah. They didn't want to call me.
You're too nice. I'll beat you right to the punch.
They didn't want to call us.
Yeah.
They didn't want to. And when they called, they were it was last ditch effort, right?
Yeah.
So, and then some may be a little bit embarrassed. I have to be embarrassed to call a dog. That's what these dogs do.
That's what it's for. And no one's perfect. I've lost a buck.
No, that's right. It happens. I didn't get a dog because I just woke up one morning and said, oh, I need some blood dogs, I think. No, I got tired of crawling around on my hands and knees because I'm a horrible freaking shot with a bow. I took stupid, unpredictable shots. Not saying a dog will fix that. They're not miracle workers. They're not. They don't run around with an RPG type back, right?
It's a great tool. Yeah.
It is a tool.
In our arsenal.
But it is a tool that should not be thought about last.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this one thing and I'm going to end this. All right? Everybody, every deer hunter, everybody's guilty. And if anybody tells you different, I know y'all lying. Everybody thinks about planning their hunt or filling feeders and everything going into hunting season. Everything. Everybody also plans on either how we're going to process our game or who we're taking to the processor.
Yep.
Nobody thinks about what's going to happen after the shot besides the processor.
Yep.
Or the taxidermist.
You're thinking about it magically drops and it's over right there. And
the
then
processor and the taxidermist is their last of their thinking. What if something doesn't go right? What's my game plan then?
This is sage advice right now.
I don't care if you're in Australia or Illinois or California, Oregon, or in Texas. Find out where you're at. Take your time. Do your research. Make some phone calls. Find out who some other friends are on Facebook or Instagram or anybody else that's used a dog or good dog guys. Get references and put them on a card and put them in your back pocket. Find their phone number somewhere. No different than if you were a long-range shooter keeping a range, windage, and elevation card on the side of your scope or on your cell phone. Put it in your notes. Who is a responsible and respectable dog man in your hunt area? And that's going to be all I got to say.
That was going to ask final words. That was it. Dustin, this has been awesome, brother. Thank you so much, man. I've loved every minute of it. And, yeah, I'm coming back. This isn't goodbye. This is see you later, brother.
You got it, brother.
Thank you, man.
We hooked it up this week.
Absolutely, brother. Thanks. ETX.
Well, guys, thanks again for tuning in. There's more adventures on the way. So, Chad, you've been out on the road, and I'm really excited to see the cool content you've got out there in Texas as well. Texas seems to be the mecca where we're at. So,
yeah.
Is there? Let's finish our show how we always finish it. Briefly, brother, what's on your mind? You just can't let it go.
Oh gosh, all these new dogs, really. But I'm just kind of fascinated with the possibilities. Nothing that I'm really going to get too far into this year, but mainly everything excited about next year. The snows are finally coming, so I'm about to dust off the old lion dogs. I got a lot of different things. My dogs can do the dirt. I like to kind of save them for when I'm a little bit more successful, and I do, of course, better in the snow here and where I hunt. With so much stinking rock, but that is coming. But my hunting truck died. The drive shaft is in like 3 pieces, and it's supposed to only come down to like 2.
Slap a Band-Aid on it.
Oh yeah, there ain't enough of that. I lost everything. Oh well, pro tip here: if your drive shaft comes apart and now you can't get yourself out, right? You can slap it into 4-wheel and at least get back home or to a main road or somewhere you can go. And I knew that, but sat there for 45 minutes before I remembered and got myself out of there. So there you go. If it's a 4-wheel drive truck and you're in 2-wheel drive and your drive shaft comes apart, and you still do have access to the other drive, you can slap it into 4-wheel and get going. Because I was just sitting there and drive, slamming on the accelerator and just spinning the engine, but the drive shaft wasn't moving. So there you go.
Good pro tip indeed.
Yeah, so that's that. But I went and picked up my new hunting truck. The flatbed and fancy pants dog box are coming at some point, but for now I got my new Tacoma ready to go, man. And nice. Yeah, with all my little mods going on it, got the lift kit and the suspension and the winch up front, and I beefed up the back so that I could put this giant box and all the hounds I like to drag around with me on the back there, and some ditch lights, and I'm feeling pretty special right now, man. If you want to know,
I do.
yeah. So
when are we gonna catch a lion, dude?
Gosh, right. Today was the best day of the year, and I have no truck. No truck.
Don't you have a horse?
Yeah. The mountain was a long way away. You got to get the horse close enough, though. But yeah. So hopefully very soon. I'm ready to go. So, and the dogs are are hating me for it. They it's like they could tell. It's cold. There's white stuff on the ground. We need to be barking at a cat, man. Let's get it.
Nice.
So there we go. That's that. I guess, as always, I can't pick one thing, but that's what I'm thinking about. How about you, man? What do you got rattling
I got
around?
ETX on my mind, man.
Yep.
Well, I think right now, currently, the thing I can't let go is two things, and I'll make both brief since I've blabbered all night. First off, the hares this year are suffering again from an outbreak of rabbit hemorrhagic disease. It's come back. It doesn't seem to be as severe this time, but all my Western hare hunters out there, keep your eyes peeled for jackrabbits or cottontails that appear to be dead with no apparent injuries, just randomly dead. Some will have blood crusted on their nose, but others will not.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anyone in New Mexico listening, contact me. If you find dead ones anywhere in the state, I'll point you in the right direction on where to get it tested. To anyone else in other states, contact your local game and fish department, and they'll point you in the right direction on where to test if they are testing. It's very important that we map out where this terrible disease has traveled. Some of the more recent data and some of the data from other countries where they've had similar viral outbreaks show that the disease does become less virulent with time, and the hares and the rabbits are evolving a defense because the ones that survive have some kind of resistance, behavioral or immunity to it. So that's all I'm hoping for. It's sickening. It's sickening. You know, I was hoping that the hare population would bounce back. And they had been recovering. And then right when I was just getting excited that it wasn't taking me 3 hours to find one jackrabbit, I started finding dead ones again, and it broke my heart. It's truly a sickening. I mean, it's just a terrible feeling, you know, no rabbits, no fun. And, I can't stop thinking about it. It's terrible, but that's nature. And hopefully they can rebound with an immunity soon enough. And the second thing I can't stop thinking about is that the ones I am jumping in areas where I'm not finding carcasses, obviously I'm trying to, hunt in places that have not been hit by this terrible disease. The ones I'm jumping are rock hard rabbits, dude. I got smoked by one.
Ain't that fun sometimes, though? I like getting
dude, it's important, right? Because I was getting really, really cocky, right? When I had my two Bohannon speed dogs and my two Salukis on the ground, I hadn't been outrun since October 2021, dude. And I was like, oh, a rabbit would get up in front of me. I'd be like, sign your death warrant. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, no. This one I jumped up on Monday came out right under my feet. I'm talking 8 inches from my toe, dude. My dogs were all around him. He came up. I was like, that's bad news. No. Yeah. This was Harvester Stallone, right? This was Woody Harrelson, dude. This thing just left him. At one point, they had him fanned out and surrounded. I was like, you're done. Yeah. No, dude. He did some kind of crazy roll. The dog, I don't know if a dog muzzle punched him and caused him to roll. My dogs typically grab him always pretty dang good. So I don't know if someone bumped him and rolled him. I don't know. But then it jumped straight up in the air, right over Calypso's back, hit the ground, and just floored it, dude. And I was like, whoa. And then he was just Teflon. They could not grab him. And then he just lined him out. My Saluki Comet took a strong lead at the end. Bless his heart. He pushed it, got about 6 to 10 body lengths ahead of the rest of my pack, who was starting to flag out, except Strider. And Comet just laid it on him. But, dude, I just saw him. And the whole chase was 1.6 miles, dude. And so by the end of it, I couldn't see him. I was on foot. Yeah. And I was on some public land. I was on foot. And, dude, I was like, what a beast. What a beast. So anyway, it's good to get smoked. And so it reminded me that there's some badass rabbits still out there. Dutch Salmon wrote in his book, he believes that some rabbits are uncatchable. And I do believe that, my friend.
Yeah, I'd buy into that too. I totally think so. You know, some are just, and when the time's right, they're feeling good, they're healthy.
He ate his Wheaties. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Munched into his Wheaties that morning and everything, and they're just, you know, and the cover's right for it. You know, there's some good ones out there. And I love, like you say, I love getting humble. You know, it's good for the dogs. It's good, you know.
It's good for you. You know what I mean? It's good for me because it's like when one gets up, I used to always be nail biting. Oh, are they going to catch him? Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and it's good to have a refresher You know what I mean? And so, funny story, and then I'll end it up. But one time we got incinerated. Our fastest speed dogs got burned down in a straightaway run by this hare in a straight sprint. I couldn't believe it. My jaw was on the floor. The speed dogs all gave up, and the rabbit just left into the distance. And my really good friend Justin, he goes, "I see the rabbit." And I was like, "What? What?" He's like, "He's right out there doing push-ups right in front of the dogs." And I was like, "Oh my God." The fastest hounds we had, Pronto and Ali, they got smoked in a straightaway sprint. To watch two speed dogs get smoked like that was insane. And I just hope that hare went out and had lots of babies. Those nut rabbits are invincible, I swear. So anyway, that's all I got. Chad, if you got anything, brother, now's the time. If not, close us out.
That's it. Yeah. Hunt 'em hard and treat 'em like heroes.
See y'all later, everyone. Thanks again.